24/7 internal neural torture. Go kill yourself.
They told me it was a radio show. They lied. But it was a lie.
Today, we're diving into a story. It's one man's harrowing account that honestly serves as a gateway into this incredibly complex world of covert tech, a pretty dark history of government experiments, and this urgent new battle for the rights of the human mind itself. Okay, let's get into it. I am a prisoner in my own body. Just let those words sink in. That's a quote from Stefan Leon Nicula, a Romanian citizen. And his words, they're really the starting point for this whole explainer. It's a desperate plea that kind of forces all of us to confront some deeply uncomfortable questions about where technology and state power are headed.
So here's the core of it. Nicula claims he was involuntarily implanted with a brain-computer interface, and that it's being used to torture him. Now, whether you believe his claims or not, his fight just to be heard exposes this fascinating and frankly disturbing intersection of personal suffering, institutional silence, and the future of our most private space, our own thoughts.
So what exactly does he claim is happening to him? Let's break down the details from his official complaints because they are pretty disturbing. The list of alleged tortures is it's extensive and it's severe. He reports everything from these sharp, needle-like pains and awful toothaches to a constant high-pitched sound in his ear. And on a psychological level, he describes being just bombarded with abusive voices, being kept from sleeping, and even having his emotions directly manipulated to make him feel fear or guilt, which he says feels like a literal pressure in his chest. And this is what all of that alleged torment leads to. According to his own legal declarations, this number, 15, represents his documented suicide attempts. It's a sobering figure, and it just underscores the profound level of distress at the very heart of this story. So Nicula's personal torment is one part of the story, but the other part is his multi-year battle against a system he claims just refuses to even listen.
And you know, this isn't a new fight for him. It started way back in May 2022, right after this alleged implantation happened. For years, he has been filing complaints. In late 2023, he got so desperate he issued an ultimatum. And his emails show that even very recently, he was still just pleading with the prosecutor's office to get a registration number for his case, which is, the most basic first step in any legal process.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this lays out the alleged systemic blockade. Nicula says the local prosecutor and police have just flat out refused to even register his complaints. But get this, while they won't look into his torture claims, a civil prosecutor did open a case against him for minor thefts he claims he was forced to commit through the implant. So you see the catch-22, right? Without a registered complaint in his own country, the door to the European Court of Human Rights is completely slammed shut. Okay, this brings us to the absolute core of the matter, the technology itself. Let's take a step back from the allegations for a second and just look at what is and what is not considered scientifically plausible today. So on the one hand, you have established brain-computer interfaces. They are real, but they typically require invasive surgery, you can see the hardware, and they take tons of training for someone to, say, control a prosthetic arm. They can't just read your unwilling thoughts. On the other hand, you have what's alleged here, a secret, undetectable implant that can read thoughts, control actions against your will, and act as a neuroweapon. That is a gigantic leap from the technology we know about publicly. Now, whenever claims of hearing voices come up, you'll often hear about the microwave auditory effect, also known as the Frey effect. And yeah, this is a real scientifically proven thing. Pulsed microwave energy can make you perceive simple sounds like clicks or buzzes that feel like they're coming from inside your head. But, and this is a really big but, the science is clear this can create simple clicks and buzzes. It is a massive, unproven leap to say it can transmit complex, coherent speech, what some people call voice-to-skull technology. There's just no public evidence for that. And really, this is the bottom line from the mainstream scientific community. Neurotechnology is advancing at a dizzying speed, for sure. But the specific things alleged here, like remote neuromonitoring to read thoughts from a distance or V2K to beam voices into someone's head, are widely considered to have no credible, publicly available evidence. But if the technology seems like something out of a science fiction movie, why do these fears persist?
Well, the answer lies in a very real and a very, very dark chapter of our own history.
It's a chilling question, isn't it? One that a lot of people might just brush off as a crazy conspiracy theory. But the historical record, well, it tells a very different story.
For over 20 years, the CIA's Project MKUltra was a documented reality. It was a top-secret program that involved horrific experiments on human subjects, sometimes on unwitting American citizens, all to develop techniques for interrogation and mind control. This is not speculation. It's a fact, confirmed by Congress.
And this right here, this case just brilliantly illustrates the heart of the problem. Check out the story of a man named Leonard Kyle. Back in the 1960s, he went to a hospital saying the government had put something in his brain to control his mind. The diagnosis was, well, predictable: paranoid schizophrenic. His story was dismissed as a total delusion. Except he wasn't delusional. It was later proven that Kyle had, in fact, been part of a secret experiment involving a brain implant designed for remote control. His unbelievable story was actually true. And this historical precedent is exactly why claims of covert experimentation, no matter how wild they sound, can't always be dismissed so easily.
Which brings us right back to today. As our technology gets closer and closer to actually decoding the brain, a whole new legal and ethical frontier is opening up: the battle for neuro rights. So what in the world are neuro rights? Well, think of them as a new category of human rights, specifically designed to protect our minds from being misused by advanced neurotech. We're talking about the fundamental right to control our own consciousness.
This new idea is built on a few key pillars. You have the right to mental privacy, which means your brain data can't be used without your permission, the right to personal identity, to protect your sense of self from being altered by tech, and maybe most important, the right to free will, which is all about making sure you can make your own decisions, free from outside manipulation.
And don't for a second think this is just some academic, far-off debate. It's happening right now. In 2021, Chile took the incredible step of writing neuro rights directly into its constitution. The law is starting to grapple with these exact issues, setting a huge precedent for the rest of the world. So we end right where we started. Regardless of what you think about any single case, the trend is crystal clear. Technology is marching toward the final frontier, our own consciousness. And that leaves us with the ultimate question for our time. As technology finally knocks on the front door of our minds, who are we going to trust to hold the key?
They told me it was a radio show. They lied. They lied.